Most people that I talk to are not using their Garmin watch to its full potential. And in this video, I'll show you 12 of my favorite hidden features, as well as tips and tricks that can help you get the most out of your Garmin watch. And this right here is the brand new Garmin Venu 3, but the good news is just about everything I'll be talking about in this video works on other devices as well. The Venu 2, the 2 Plus, the Vivo Move, like a lot of different watches out there will be able to do most of what I talk about on this list. So going through these 12, the first one, kind of in no particular order, is the ability to take a screenshot by pressing both buttons at once. So if you are in the middle of a workout and you want to just like take a screenshot of like a high heart rate or something else, just so you remember later to go back and see what was going on there, you can take a screenshot by pressing the two buttons at once. Similarly, if you're like listening to music and you have the Spotify app open here and you like really like a song and you just want to like remember what it is, you can take a screenshot, and it's very easy to do, like I said, pressing both buttons at the same time. A little quirk though is that it does save those photos on the device locally. Moving on to number 2, some people do know about this one, but many people still don't, because Garmin doesn't make it really that obvious that you're able to get, for example, the Starbucks app or like an area calculator, like a lot of these different apps. And the way to do it is actually on a different app. I never really understood why Garmin did this, but they have their Garmin Connect app, which does pretty much everything you'll normally do with your watch. And then they have the connectIQ app, which allows you to get different watch faces, different music players, like Spotify, for example. We'll talk about that in a second, as well as different apps like the Starbucks app, for example, if you want to like pay with your watch or have, your Starbucks card on there, something like that. Moving on to number 3, this is the ability to create custom text and call responses. So if you open the Garmin Connect app on your phone, you go to the device, go to settings, and go to text responses, you can not only customize this for text messages. So if somebody texts you and you have an Android device, that's a very important caveat there. If you have an Android device, you can have your own pre-written responses. So if like typically your spouse texts you and you're like always at bowling or something, you can have a quick response that just says, "I'm still bowling." And additionally, you could also use the voice assistant on here to reply to text messages. That might be an easier way to kind of write your own text messages, but again, only working on Android there. Next up, we have the glances. So if you swipe up or down, there's kind of like this loop of different what they call glances, and these are things like your weather, your notifications, your most recent activities. But by default, you might not actually care about some of them that are near the top. So maybe you do not care about intensity minutes and instead you want notifications there. It's super easy to rearrange that. You could either do that in the app on your phone or just tap and hold any one of them, and you will be able to rearrange them, remove them, add other ones. And so if you haven't already done this, I definitely recommend at least going in there and seeing which other ones are available. You could also add some custom glances from the connectIQ store, like I said before. But before we get into some of my favorite ones, I want to highlight that this again is the Garmin Venu 3, but you can buy either this watch or any Garmin watch from Best Buy, the sponsor of today's video. So thanks to Best Buy for sponsoring this video and for sending this watch over to make this video, as well as my other review. If you haven't already seen that review, I'll have it linked below. But of course, if you're going to buy this, I'll have a link in the description. You can go over to Best Buy. You can see more about this product. You can learn about the specs of it. You can compare different Garmin products on there. And of course, I mean, most of you are probably familiar with Best Buy. You're able to order online or in store, and you can either have it shipped to you, you can have it shipped to store and just pick it up. You can pre-order things, or you can just, of course, go into the store and buy things there. And all of them are super convenient. At least the local Best Buy near me has these lockers on the outside. So that's my go-to. I order things online, they ship to store, and when they're there, I just go over, open the little locker, don't even have to talk to people, and it's really, really convenient. And as you can see there, Best Buy even has a trade-in program, so you can trade in your old device to upgrade to a new Garmin device. So again, thanks to Best Buy for sponsoring this video, and if you're looking to buy any Garmin device, or really any tech for that matter at all, I recommend checking out Best Buy. Now, continuing on with this list, you're actually able to rearrange activities. So by default, you have some really common ones that maybe you don't use. Like I'm not a big cyclist, so having cycling on there it's not something I need to do. But maybe I do a lot of yoga or play a lot of pickleball or something. And so on the watch, if you just press the top right button to open up the activities, you could tap and hold this and rearrange the ones that are on there, or you can tap the little X to get rid of them. And of course, if you scroll down, you can press the plus and add any other workout you want on here. Like I said, there's some really obscure ones. There is pickleball. So yeah, they actually do have pickleball on here. And I don't know why, but I have not played pickleball ever until yesterday. Like that was my first time ever playing this. It's like the fastest growing sport in America. If you go to any tennis court, everybody's playing pickleball. And I always thought like, oh, it's just like a weird tiny version of tennis. It's actually really fun. Like, I would highly recommend it if anyone's looking for a new sport to get into. Now, moving right along, something that I frequently do on this watch as well as my previous Garmin Venu devices is take a health snapshot. It's cool to do that in different situations to see how stressed you are, what your heart rate is, just a general idea of what you're doing, like what your body's doing at that moment. For a good time, try this while you're taking a cold shower, and you'll just see like how stressed your body is throughout the cold shower. So maybe it's useful like first thing in the morning or after a workout or something like that. And you could actually also share this with your doctor if you ever wanted to, so they can kind of get more insight into different parts of your day. And then my absolute favorite one that most people don't do, and this is true for the Garmin, but many other watches as well, is offline Spotify. You can connect Bluetooth earbuds to the watch, have downloaded songs through Spotify. So as long as you have Spotify Premium, you're able to do that. And then when I go for a run, I don't bring my phone with me. I run with just the watch and earbuds, and the battery life is solid. I can go for, obviously way longer than I'm able to run. I never had a problem with it. And it's great. Like, you can run, listen to music, track everything, get your Garmin Coach in your ear, which ties me into the next one. Garmin Coach is another great feature you have on this watch. And I have Garmin Coach showing up in the apps now. So if I press on the top right on the new Garmin Venu 3 interface, which is really nice, I'm so happy that they redid this. We not only have activities up there, we also have apps as well. And so you can rearrange the apps list. You can add and remove things. And so, for example, I added Garmin Coach. If I tap on that, it's going to open that up, and you can create a training plan using Garmin Connect depending on what your goals are. It's just another really cool, powerful tool that Garmin offers, and having that in the apps just makes it more accessible and easier to do. But of course, you could add anything to that apps list. And I guess while we're talking about that button, you can also add and customize the shortcuts on this watch. So one shortcut is when you swipe from the home screen, swiping from the left to the right, you'll open up, what I do is I open Voice Assistant there, but you could open up other apps, you can do whatever you want on here, and similarly, you can customize the control, or you can customize the shortcuts, meaning the other buttons, and choosing what they do within the Garmin Connect app. In order to do that, you just tap on shortcut and you have the middle button tap, middle button hold, and the right swipe as I mentioned before. We can also customize the controls, which is not the same as what I was just saying, that's shortcuts. So if you press and hold the top button on the older interfaces, you get that ring and it shows you like the phone and different things like that. On here, if you press and hold it, you get a nice little scrollable menu. So it's not just an icon, it actually has text there, which is really useful. And you can edit that on the bottom. Of course, you could also customize it by tapping and holding these and rearranging them or removing something. And so you can turn on like sleep mode, do not disturb, lock screen, which by the way is going to be useful if you have like a Garmin Pay on here and you want to lock your watch so that nobody can just, take your watch and start buying stuff. You also have Find My Phone, which is my most used feature out of the entire controls list. And you can have like a flashlight on there as well if you want to use the screen as a flashlight. Now, I don't know why Garmin does not enable this by default, but within the Garmin Connect app on your phone, if you go to settings and you go down to activity tracking, you can tap on auto activity start and enable this. So turn the status to on, and you can choose, like right now, walk and run are the two that I have, and it's 10 minutes and 1 minute. And so this is super useful for me for walks because I like tracking like where I walk, and if I just go for a walk, it's kind of nice to have some data around that. And you're able to do that automatically when you have this enabled. So you just start walking, and if you walk for 10 minutes, your watch will say, all right, this is a walk, and it's gonna already record those past 10 minutes, and you'll have your entire exercise, your entire workout recorded. And then last but not least, this is an absolutely huge one. If you only enable one thing in this entire video, hopefully it is this one here. These are the safety features, and there's a couple within here, but I'm just calling it one hidden feature on here because Garmin doesn't make it super obvious where it is. But within settings, if you scroll down to safety and tracking, there's incident detection, which is enabled by default if you fall, for example, while you're biking. Then there is assistance, so you can press and hold the button until you feel 3 vibrations, and that'll call for help. You also have emergency calling. You've got emergency contacts. So if anything ever happens, you can use the emergency contacts feature and just contact like, your wife or your spouse, whatever. And of course we have LiveTrack as well. So if you're doing something that is a little bit sketchy, you can have LiveTrack so people can see your location at all times. You could also potentially use that in a more useful way. Like if you're running a half marathon and people want to know where you are, maybe that would be a useful way to leverage that feature there. So those are 13, but probably more than 13 of my top features, tips, tricks, whatever, using the Garmin watch. I've been a big fan of this watch. It's not as smart as most smartwatches, but it's a lot better at sports tracking. So these tips and tricks and hidden features have kind of helped me to push this a little bit more into the realm of an everyday smartwatch, so I can wear this every day, use it like a smartwatch, but also have really accurate workout tracking when I'm like going for a run and training and stuff like that. See you in the next video.